Hello YouTube, Gladiator Beast YCS champion and World Championship competitor Mike Cohanum here. Today I'm going to show you my first draft of a Gladiator Beast deck that I'm planning to take into a Genesys format tournament. I'll explain the point values, the card choices, the general strategy of the deck, and some of the things that I considered in building it. If you're not familiar with the Genesys format, please check out my previous video where I explain how the format works. I think the format's really cool because it gives a lot of lesser decks the opportunity to shine, and it appears that the format will be supported by Konami pretty extensively based on the events that they've already announced, which include the 2 invitationals coming up at the next 2 YCSs in North America, as well as at least one Genesys format YCS in 2026. Without further ado, I'll get into my deck profile. I decided to build the deck on Master Duel just for show purposes. I think it's the best platform for kind of showcasing cards so that you can see the deck all at once, and for explaining it card by card. It just so happens that every card that I put in my Genesys format Gladiator Beast deck is available in Master Duel, so it works out. If you find this video helpful, I would really appreciate it if you hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. It really encourages me to make more videos like it. First of all, it's really hard to predict the pacing of this format so early on. There hasn't really been anything like it in Yu-Gi-Oh! Because it allows new cards, as well as old ones that haven't been legal in a long time, while also getting rid of so many cards. That said, with Link Monsters not in the format, the advanced format strategy of looping Tamer Editor no longer works, so you need to adapt the deck for the Genesys format. For my first iteration of the deck, I settled on doing a bit of a Primite version that uses Gladiator Beast Andal. I'm still not convinced that is the best way to play it as I go through the card choices, but I definitely want to try that out. So that is what I'm going to do for my first version of this deck that I use in a tournament. I'll go through all of the cards I'm playing, and I'll start with the ones that cost points, so that you can kind of see my rationale for that. First off, Gladiator Beast Tamer Editor costs 20 points. This deck is built for the standard 100-point format, which seems to be the one everyone is talking about and planning to play. I don't know that there will be custom formats with more or fewer points, so I think the 100-point standard format for the Genesys tournaments is probably the safe bet for having a deck, to have a deck for that format. Gladiator Beast Tamer Editor costs 20 points each. Depending on your build, you might be able to get away with playing just one, but without being able to loop it, and the feasibility of summoning 2 copies in one turn, and using them to summon both Domitianus and Heraklinos, kind of made it so that I think 2 copies is justified. And I know Kashtira is not a particular powerhouse in this format because of the costs of certain cards, but since the deck is still built around Tamer Editor, I also don't want to be vulnerable to Kashtira Unicorn, which is playable in the format. But really, I'm using 2 copies because I want to be able to special summon 2 copies from the extra deck. Don't forget, Tamer Editor can't be returned to the extra deck to summon Claudius, since it can't be used as a fusion material. So sometimes you will actually need that second copy, and I think that the extra 20 points to play that second copy are justified. Moving on, I am also, of course, playing Gladiator Beast Gyzarus. I think this one you could easily get away with 1 copy of. If it's destroyed and you want to special summon it, there's good odds that if you've gone through all the effort of summoning it, you might have 5 gladiators and are able to summon Claudius, and then that would allow you to send Gyzarus back and resummon it. So I certainly don't think you need to spend another 20 points of the 100 points you have to deal with to play a second copy of Gladiator Beast Gyzarus. With 60 points gone, we move on to the next Gladiator that I spent points on, and that's Gladiator Rejection. I was a little bit on the fence when I first saw that it was 20 points. Then they reduced it to 15, and I thought about it some more and realized this might actually be the most crucial card in the deck. There are actually, first of all, you can get it with Gladiator Beast Gistel, so it is a searchable card, and there are so many ways to special summon from the deck. Another thing I hadn't thought about is that Fusion Deployment costs 0 points, and can special summon one of your level 5 or higher gladiators from your deck at no cost. It does lock you into only fusions, but that's really not a big deal at all in the event, in a format where you can't use links. This was actually a key card in my deck during the Fusion Festival where I played Gladiator Beast for that in Master Duel, and I temporarily forgot about it. But then I did see that someone mentioned it was 0 points. I'm like, oh man, Fusion Deployment! This card's amazing in Glads! And it combos well with Rejection, because when Fusion Deployment special summons either Augustus, who's a fusion material on Andabata, or special summons Vespasius, who's a fusion material on Domitianus, you can then special summon a different level 5 or higher for free from the deck and instantly make Tamer Editor. And that's without using a normal summon, so there's a good shot you can still make a second Tamer Editor and use its effect in the same turn. So with 75 points down, I have 25 points to deal with. As I mentioned in the previous video, Proving Ground is 33 points. Honestly, that's a non-starter. Even if I had exactly 33 points left, that would not be the next card I put in this deck. So I'm using 10 points for Typhon, just as I see what the metagame becomes. Obviously, this is a very metagame-dependent card. I think it's probably not that good in this format, but I'm really kind of just guessing. So this certainly might go and get replaced with more cards that cost points. But for now, since you do have the space in the extra deck with Link monsters gone, I chose to use 10 points on Typhon, and then 5 points apiece on the 3 Daruma Cannons. This is another card I had experimented with in Gladiator Beasts in the advanced format because the card is so powerful, and I think it's going to be really good in this format. I'm a little thrown off because with one of the big strengths of Daruma Karma Cannon is the fact that Link monsters are just sent to the graveyard by the player that controls them as part of this card's effect. So that might make it a little worse, but putting all of your opponent's monsters face down is just really good, and it's especially good in Gladiator Beasts because all you have to do is attack to be able to tag out and start getting plays going. Well, obviously you want to hard draw Gistel to get your deck running. Even if you just attack, tag into Gistel, and use its effect to get one of the key cards in your deck, like Rejection to combo with Fusion Deployment or something else, just upon an opponent having a monster face down to enable that is valuable. So that's the 100 points. I'm playing 3 copies of Gistel. Obviously, he's probably the best card in the deck. He's definitely the best main decked Gladiator. He searches for all the key cards. He can get you Comeback, he can get you Flavian, he can get you Gladiator Rejection, since it doesn't have to be a Gladiator Beast card, and he can get you Gladiator Beast United, which is a card I'll talk about a little later. He can also get the trap cards, Gladiator Beast Charge, and Gladiator Beast War Chariot, so he's a no-brainer. Gladiator Beast Sagittarii, if the format's a little slower, I think this card is actually really good. If it's special summoned by a Glad Beast monster, you can discard a Gladiator Beast to draw 2 cards. So it does net you 1 card, plus it helps load up the graveyard with Gladiator Beast to help you summon Claudius in a format where you can't just link monsters away to help summon it. And also it has the typical tag out effect, and is also not a hard once per turn. So you could do it multiple times in a turn if the opportunity arises. Bestiari is a fusion material for Gyzarus, so I'm playing it. It also might come in handy. It's a good versatile card where you can tag into it if you want to. Darius will help with the special summon of Andabata from the extra deck. I'll talk about that a little later with Andabata, when I talk about Andabata. But it can also obviously combo with Bestiari, bring back Bestiari to summon Gyzarus. So I think it does enable fusions, especially because you might actually special summon Domitianus with its own summoning requirement of Vespasius plus 2 monsters. The Darius' effect activating puts 2 monsters on the field. So I think Darius is obviously crucial. Equeste is obviously really important in this deck. I think you want to recycle a lot of the cards, including Gladiator Beast Charge, Gladiator Beast War Chariot, and Flavian. and obviously Comeback. I was contemplating playing 2 copies of Equeste just because of how critical it is and how important it is that you have it in the deck. I settled on 1 for now, but we'll see. I'm using Noxious and Vespasius as 2 level 5 or higher number Gladiator Beasts. The same 2 I play in the advanced format. But I'm also using Augustus, mainly because he's a fusion material for Andabata. Which, again, I'll talk about Andabata later. But I think Andabata is actually really, really good in this format. I have the package of normal monsters. 3 Rescue Rabbit, which can summon 2 Andal at a time. Primite Roar, which is basically a better version of Unexpected Die, because if you get the Gladiator Beast Andal either on the field or in the graveyard, you can use the Roar's effect in the graveyard to banish a monster your opponent controls when the opponent normal summons. So it is an interruption that also extends. So I think Primite Roar is good. All the Primite cards cost 0 points. I don't think Drill Beam's worth it because I don't play any Primite cards that allow me to bring Drill Beam back. And it's also not searchable by the cards in this deck. Lordly Load costs 33 points, so that's not a viable choice for this deck. So I'm just playing Primite Roar to summon the Andal in order to extend, and using Rescue Rabbit, who can also summon Andal. The Rescue Rabbit and the Roar both synergize with Gladiator Rejection, because both cards special summon a Gladiator Beast from the deck, which Rejection then allows you to extend to summon another one. I'm using 1 copy of Gladiator Beast Attorix, just like I do in the advanced format. I don't really think you need more copies. It's really a card, like, you want to combo it with Gistel, and you have Flavian to help, but if you have to combo Gistel with something else, you can probably make do. There's still stuff you can do. Noxious also functions kind of the same as Attorix, at least as far as that combo goes, of being able to use Gistel and summon it alongside one of them to dump one of the level 5 or higher monsters and bring it back with Comeback to make Tamer Editor. So I'm just running 1 Attorix for now. I talked about the level 5 or higher monsters a little bit. Noxious is kind of cool because you can stop an attack and then tag out. So once in a while, that effect actually comes in handy when you activate the effect in the hand. Same for Vespasius. When your Gladiator Beast battles, the extra 500 attack points sometimes make a huge difference, and him just jumping onto the field to protect you can be significant. And while Augustus can unclutter the hand if you use Gistel to special summon it, but it's mostly there because Andabata's in the deck and Augustus is feature material for it. But I do want to talk about Test Bear, because Test Bear is a card that I had always written off as unplayable, but it's actually insane in this format, I think. I think this card is insane. First of all, it's really just better than Test Tiger, because Test Tiger requires you to lose the Tiger and the Gladiator Beast on your field in order to special summon 1 Gladiator Beast. Test Bear really does the same thing, but summons 2 Gladiator Beasts. Yes, you can't special the Bear unless you have a monster special summon from the deck on your field, but the Bear does allow you to send a Gladiator Beast from your hand to your deck instead of your field to use its effect, which is effectively the same as normal summoning a Gladiator Beast and then special summoning Test Tiger. So I think actually Test Bear is so insane that I'm playing 3 copies, and I think the higher Gladiator Beast count in this deck helped to justify that. Plus, Ash Blossom costs points, so a lot of decks I think won't play it. So I think it's going to be less vulnerable to interruption effects than it would be in any other format of Yu-Gi-Oh! And its effect is insane, because you can just immediately summon Attorix and Noxious by using the effect, and that will allow you to not only send 2 Glads to the graveyard to help fuel Claudius, but instantly let you fusion special summon Gladiator Beast Tamer Editor and use its effect to bring up Domitianus or Heraklinos. It can also access some of the other Glads in the deck if you prefer to do that. You can get Gistel to get that all-important search for the 1 Rejection. And Sagittarii if you want to draw cards by discarding a card from your hand, or Equeste to recycle something like a Comeback if you already have Tamer Editor in the graveyard. So I think Test Bear is insane. At least to start, I am going to play 3 copies, and I'm very happy to have 3 quarter-century secret rares to put in my deck. Moving on to the spells or traps. Flavian is probably more... First of all, Flavian is, I think, going to be insane in this format. So just summoning a monster that can't be destroyed in battle is really good. every time they attack. I think some decks just may not be able to handle that. I actually decked a player out in Master Duel, a Blue Eyes player, because he just couldn't destroy the monster that I special summoned with Flavian. You just had no way to do it but to destroy it in battle. Well, but to destroy it without being able to destroy it in battle. And that might come up, actually. This card might actually be more oppressive than people realize. So while Gladiator Proving Ground costs 33 points, Flavian costs 0 and turns every card into your hand into a better Proving Ground. Plus, its effect when you special summon a Glad Beast from the main deck, in your end phase you get to set either the Charge or the War Chariot, which are the 2 Glad Beast trap cards I'm playing. And it also synergizes with Primite Roar, because that special summons Andal from the deck, and Fusion Deployment, which special summons a Glad from the deck, and Rescue Rabbit, which special summons a Glad from the deck. So there's actually a lot of synergy with a lot of cards in the deck to make it easy to set the traps. That is part of the reason I am playing 3 copies of Charge. I think Charge is also just really powerful, and generally more powerful than War Chariot. I did want to play a copy of War Chariot, so I do have a second trap option, and it can be recurred with Equeste. I talked about Fusion Deployment. Fusion Deployment's insane. Combos with Rejection for an immediate Tamer Editor. Also makes it easier to summon Andabata. Comeback. This card is less combo now and more of an actual comeback card. If your opponent overcomes your field, this is the card you play to bring back Tamer Editor and turn things around. I talked about Primite Roar already. I touched upon Charge. I mentioned Daruma Cannon since it's 5 points each. I think it's a powerful card. The only thing I didn't talk about is Gladiator Beast United. Every time I put this in my deck, I regret it and I remove it. But maybe this time it'll be different. So since the format's a little weaker, I think United might be strong enough to play, and it is searchable by Gistel. So I'm going to try it. I also think summoning Nerokius with it is pretty good, if you can then just tag out and get 2 monsters that make Tamer Editor. So I'm going to try it. It also is a Gladiator Beast card and not just a Gladiator card, so it can come back with a quest. Moving on to the extra deck, Gladiator Beast Essedarii is sometimes a bridge. If you have a level 5 or higher, let's say you have out Noxious with 2 level 4 or lower Glads, you can turn the 2 level 4 Glads into Essedarii and then fuse it with Noxious to make Tamer Editor. So sometimes it's just a bridge to Tamer Editor. I don't think I need to talk about Gyzarus or Heraklinos. I should talk about why I'm only playing 1 Heraklinos. The fact that you could send it back with Claudius makes me feel like you don't really need 2. And you never summon 2 at the same time because it's not a once per turn effect. So I think 1's enough. Nerokius, he kind of hits the field, attacks, and tags out, so I don't think you need 2 copies. But he is good, especially with United, because sometimes you just need that. You want this monster, and he can tag out for 2. Andabata is actually crazy. This card I've played in the advanced format for a while, and I think it is really, really good, because you can fuse Augustus plus 2, let's say you have Augustus plus 2 low-level Glads. Normally, you would either, so without Andabata, you can fuse the Glads to make Essedarii, and then fuse Essedarii with Augustus to make Tamer Editor. With Andabata, you can actually just go straight from Augustus and the 2 Glads into Andabata. Use Andabata's effect to special summon Gyzarus, because it's on-summoned, destroys, special summons a level 7 or lower Gladiator Beast from your extra deck, ignoring the summoning conditions. So you can immediately summon Gyzarus, and then you can fuse the 2 of them together for Tamer Editor, or Andabata and Gyzarus both tag out for 2 monsters. So if you just summon Andabata, use his effect to summon Gyzarus, destroy 2 cards, and attack with both and tag, you'll be able to special summon 4 monsters. So you can just summon Attorix, sending Essedarii to the graveyard, along with the other 3 level 5 or higher Glads in your deck, and you'll already have 2 Tamer Editors. So with Augustus and 2 Glads, plus a battle phase, you can make you can destroy 2 cards and make 2 Tamer Editors. And this is incredibly easy to do if you draw somewhat decently. Because if you have, let's say, Gladiator Rejection and Rescue Rabbit, you can play Rejection, summon Rabbit, use Rabbit's effect to summon 2 Andals, special summon Augustus with the effect of Rejection, because it has a different type from Andal, And then you can use the 2 Andals and the Augustus to make Andabata. Andabata's effect summons Gyzarus. So I think that's really good. With Rejection, you can also just use Fusion Deployment to summon Augustus, special summon another monster with Rejection, and then normal summon a monster. That'll get you into Andabata. Or without Rejection, you can also do stuff like Primite Roar, then Fusion Deployment, then normal summon. Or something like that. But there are plenty of combinations. You know, you could do a way to summon Augustus, and then just special summon Gistel, along with another Glad. There's a lot of combinations that can make Andabata. And, you know, at worst, Andabata is just summoning Gyzarus, not destroying anything, and making Tamer Editor. So he's really good. But because he doesn't stick around on the field for long, I think his risk of destruction is pretty low, so I'm playing 1 copy. Also, he can be used as a fusion material, as is critical for making Tamer Editor, so he can also be returned to the deck to summon Claudius, so he can be recycled. I talked about the 2 Tamer Editors. I'm running 2 Domitianus. I don't think you need a 3rd. Again, you're not going to... he can be returned to the deck with Claudius if you run out of them. And I really don't think you're summoning 3 in your 5 monster zones. But remember, no extra monster zones. Claudius is insane. He's obviously a lot harder to summon without being able to link Gladiator Beast away. But I think Attorix and Noxious will do a lot of work. Rescue Rabbit into Andal, and then Xyz summoning using those 2 Andals will ultimately put those 2 Andals in the graveyard eventually, which also gets you almost halfway to the Claudius. I do play 2 copies because if 1 Claudius is destroyed, you can then use it as a fusion material from the graveyard to special summon the 2nd Claudius. Now moving on to the Xyz monsters. I'll be honest, I didn't put that much thought into this, so if you think there are better rank 4 Xyz monsters I should play, please let me know down in the comments. I will definitely take suggestions. I put in Evil Swarm Exciton Knight. I think it's a good card, and it's... I don't know, it's a rank 4 that can be game-changing, so I put it in. And I really like number S39, Utopia the Lightning, so I put in a Utopia and a Utopia Lightning. So that's my rank 4 package. Definitely open to changing it. Don't put too much stock in my choices for this. And then Typhon I already talked about. Really format dependent, and I used 10 points on it, but we'll see how it goes. So that's my Gladiator Beast deck. If you found this video helpful, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. I do want to make a lot more Genesys content, mostly for Gladiator Beasts, but maybe I'll make some content that's outside of Gladiator Beasts, specifically for the Genesys format, because there are some other things that I do want to check out in that format. But if you like and subscribe, it encourages me to make more videos like this one. Thank you.